just to get started, the broad 40,000 foot picture. Can you tell us in layman's terms, to maybe the first time ever someone being introduced to what dynamic pricing is, what is it? What's the nature of dynamic pricing?
Right. So dynamic pricing, essentially, if you want to go really high level, think of each night on your calendar, if you're in the travel industry or as short-term rental, each night in your calendar as a product, right? Different products have different prices. An iPhone costs different from Google Pixel 6 or whatever. Different cars cost different things because there is a different demand for those things, like each of them individually. Similarly, each night in some ways is a product. If you're in a ski area, a night in February and March is way more valuable than a night in, say, mid-May, where this is mud season, right? So uh, it's essentially saying, hey, the product that you are selling as a short-term rental is not your house, it's nights in the house. And depending on when those nights are, whether it's a weekend or a weekday, whether it's a high season or low season, whether there's a big event going on or not, the demand is different. The value that somebody who's staying there that gets out of it is different, and so they should be priced differently. So that's one piece. That's one part of it being dynamic, that you shouldn't be selling all your nights at the same price. Just like if you have two cars to sell, you won't sell both the cars at the same price. The second part is something that you would probably see in all grocery stores. You would all see it in car dealerships. You see it everywhere, which is the value of time in some ways, where uh, if you're selling vegetables go stale after a while, right? Like you can't sell like rotten tomatoes. That's like you can't sell it for much. Whereas if they're ripe tomatoes, like perfectly ripe, then you can sell it for a reasonable amount, right? Whatever the market can take. Similarly, the value that you are able to sell each night, any given night, whether it be in high season or low season, at different points of time till the night expires. Once the night is gone, like you can't go back and sell April 15th of 2021 at whatever price. Like I mean, somebody will have like you can't even sell it for $1 because it's worth nothing. Like what does that give us? So that's the other aspect, to say like, okay, it's high season. Depending on how far out it is and depending on what we know about the market, we can say, hey, I should probably sell it for something more or something less. That's in a nutshell. So like I
Oh,
think I tried to bring in some car references, some tomato references, but
yeah,
I'm
that's
hoping that
perfect.
helps
I've heard you
explain.
use the analogy where we're not selling cheese. It expires. There's an expiration date, and so
Right,
when that date arrives, what's the optimal price the market can handle, the market can absorb.
right. Yeah, and in some ways, if you think of cheese, which comes with an expiry date, um, there are people who will say, hey, I will use it today. So if it's expiring tomorrow, I'm fine with it. But then the number of such people is few, and whether they'll notice your package of cheese or not, is the chances are less. So you kind of have to say, okay, if the demand is less, then I'll have to discount it and sell.